Good evening, everyone, and welcome to episode 91 on the podcast Myths, Mysteries, and Majesty. And if anyone is having doubts, this is more than just your intellectual or nerdy podcast. It's a ministry first and foremost. So, whatever we do, we try to bring God the glory. And for tonight's segment, we welcome back Saint Shaun and PJ, who was here with us last Sunday when we had this phenomenal discussion about D&D. And I'm so glad to share this podcast with my brothers tonight, and hopefully to do the same tomorrow around 7:30 p.m. Central Time, where we'll be talking about a true supernatural horror event that happened to a celebrity. If you want more info, please hop in the live segment with us tomorrow in exactly 24 hours from now. For tonight, we have prepared this game and why. Okay, so if you played any first-person shooters, they're coming from the middle and late 90s. You know about Doom. You know about so many similar games like Duke Nukem, like Redneck Rampage, Witch Haven, Hexen, Heretic. You know, games like this were known. Games like this were known and very popular back in the days. And then the indie producers start making similar games in the modern days, resembling those games in the best era that came from 90s. And Forgive Me, Father, the sequel just came out, and it's supposedly to be a very good game. And the next reason why we switch from AAA games is we want to in this way kind of support indie producers and gamers, because not every game has to be made by a AAA studio that has billions of dollars. So in this way, we're supporting, or at least trying to support, those small studios and analyze these games from a biblical perspective. Before we start diving in with this content, PJ, welcome back, brother. Do you want to share something with us quickly, and then you, Shaun, and then we're ready to
go. Oh yeah. Am I unmuted? Okay. So thanks for having me back. I'm very excited about this, and I'm actually really excited for all these indie companies and these smaller companies, because we see a lot of the big, AAA companies have an agenda that they're pushing, and we just see it kind of mirrored through, basically through the game industry, and a lot of people are talking about it now. And I think now is like prime time for these smaller companies that are building awesome games that they really have a chance to shine.
Yeah, no, I 100% echo that. Yeah, these smaller companies, they need a chance to shine to get their message through. So it's not just one message being forced down our throat by this conglomeration that chooses what games it wants to put out, vetoes the games that we probably need. So yeah, I mean, gaming is essentially storytelling, and so we need the good stories. We've always needed the good stories, and so I'm really excited about what we've got lined up for tonight.
Cool, thank you. We shall be analyzing probably the beginning, first hour, and then the last hour or so for this new indie game that is getting great reviews. Forgive Me, Father. It's a first-person horror shooter. Again, that reminds me of those best titles that came from middle and late 90s. That being said, let's watch it and analyze.
I finally defeated you. You want to deceive me again with even more lies. I won't give up, and I will uncover the truth. Was it all a dream? What is happening? I only remember a letter where someone asked for my help. Without hesitation, I set out on the journey. And where has this led me? Are these only horrific visions, or is it a hurtful truth hidden in the shadows? Your soul was fighting with nightmares, while your body was locked in a cell to protect the world from darkness. Darkness residing in your heart. It's beyond my comprehension. The one who seeks the truth must first face their demons. I clearly need to leave this place. Get up. Bad things knocking about. There's something wrong with this place. That's for sure. Wake up. About darn time. You got a knife in your pocket. You've been eating it. Mark my words.
Yeah, I had to lower the volume a little bit so that when we comment, that the audience can
Where'd
hear.
everyone go?
From the get-go, we see that
What
the
the
priest
hell
is
is going on
involved in
here?
this place. So he's in this prison kind of asylum, and it
Did
is the
I
first
just
enemy,
kill
the
a man?
first
Forgive me,
first
Father.
kind of zombie
Door
enemy
open.
monster. But what's funny,
If I
even though I
encounter
didn't
more,
plan
it'll be
Shaun,
harder to hurt me.
the last game we did with Sherlock Holmes was against
I heard them
Cthulhu Myth,
doctors holding
and
a
this is
fire
like the
in the
William
underground room.
Cthulhu cult again.
Supposedly
It's
for
so
your own
funny. I didn't
safety, they
plan that.
say. But why do doctors need a weapon? I could definitely use it now. They're psychopaths. Take a gander upstairs. I think you'll find a passage. I feel a little better.
Have you guys played any first-person horror shooters when you were younger? You did, PJ?
Oh yeah, Doom, all that. Like I was first person. I've always been a first person shooter guy.
I have no
That
way to
it
escape.
took me back. I guess
I
to like
need more
GoldenEye
ammunition.
was, I guess, my entry to first person shooter, and I fell in love with that. And Doom, but Doom was a little hard to play sometimes.
Yeah, I was more of a button masher, so first-person shooters were not great for me. My brother loved them, but I used to love to watch them. I remember when Halo came out and all of our friends could get around and play. I was always the one with the lowest KD.
So I don't know if anyone played Blood. That was literally the whole title of the game, Blood. It came out in 1997, and it was very gory, very bloody, as the name says, right? First-person shooter. It came out after Doom 2, and man, it was such a crazy good game. So I'm already seeing some resemblance with this game and with Blood, even though it's been like what over almost 30 years. Yeah.
I understand that. Turn the contrast up. I do that often, but no, I never played Blood. And I love playing first person shooters. Like I have a ton of them on my Steam account, but I'm not good at any of them. But I still find it fun.
It's kind of reminding me of Call of Duty Zombies.
Man, this music just pumps the atmosphere to the max. I was watching one game, and it lacked music. It was like it was a great game, but the atmosphere because of the lack of really good music was zero. Yet the enemies, the graphics, everything was amazing. I'm like, man, why would people avoid soundtrack? You can afford the soundtrack, right? I don't know. But anyway, I want to say that I appreciate when the action-packed scenes come, that the music starts getting like it's like playing with your nerves,
Yeah, it pumps you up for sure. And at first, I didn't like how it's like a one-shot kill for everything. But now that I understand the game is more of overwhelming odds versus like strategically trying to take things out and conserve your ammo, it's got a very Doom feel to it, even with the paper doll, the two-dimensional monsters. But I really enjoy that. Like I find myself, the more watching this, the more I miss that in games.
Yeah, I remember again in the 90s, games like Doom. First, not every game supported mouse. Then, even that, like
If I
barely
have to
any
go
new
further,
game
I need to charge
would
it
allow
and
you
work through the
would
battery
allow you
level.
to manipulate with objects. I just saw those barrels. That's why I started thinking about it. Then they introduced like, oh, you can shoot in barrels, so you can kill enemies, not only in the way just by shooting directly at them. You can actually manipulate objects, and that's how you can kill monsters. And when that started coming out, we were like, wow, like, this is like groundbreaking. Now this is so normal, but back in the days, that was all beginning to be developed. So like I said, this is bringing me back when I was younger, and especially this, like once when you get with a shotgun in any of these Doom first-person shooter games, you're so happy because that shotgun is usually so powerful, even against more powerful enemies.
You gotta destroy whatever's sprouting in that passage, I reckon.
I'm honestly interested in this voice that speaks to the priest because it sounds like them. It sounds demonic, and it's playing mind games with him. That's another reason why I wanted to, dissect this game because it has a lot of these spiritual layers.
That's another thing that reminds me of the Call of Duty Zombies and Vanguard, is that they go to like this demonic plane and they have this patron demon that's giving them dreams and stuff. So it does really kind of feel like that. And the overwhelming odds of the enemy, it definitely is reminiscent of the different, what do they call them? The different rounds of the zombies.
I also want to say to the original uploader of this game who bought the game and finished, thank you. The video link is in this episode description, so please subscribe to their channel. This is not a big channel like the one we usually use and cover. So yeah, please support their work because they deserve. I also like how the game is intentionally done a little bit cartoonish. So it's a serious game, it's a scary game, it's a horror game that covers Cthulhu myth, yet it's done intentionally to be a little bit cartoonish. I think that brings to the overall atmosphere. So some of them have something like fireballs, right? Unless I'm wrong. Dude, did he grab the Bible or it was some demonic book? I don't know.
It said dark tome, so I'm not sure. But a priest reading from a dark tome, that doesn't feel right.
Maybe he didn't read. Maybe he was removing it.
And do you see that the game changed? It lost the colors, so like that is intentional. When he touched the book, we lost the colors. Now everything is black and white. So I wonder what is the connection?
Maybe they were passive while the tome was there, and now they've enraged or something.
Or maybe you see something, probably not, but allow me to, use my creativity, my imagination. Maybe like, hey, you want to use the occult? It comes with a price. Now you live in the world without colors, without life, without God's presence, no warmth, and that goes away until you go back to the occult, and then again you're distancing yourself from life. Maybe not, but I like to think that way.
Something bothering you? Let go of the trauma and share your fragments of memories. Don't you worry, them doctors are the best in the whole county.
Yeah, I feel like he's trying to do the whole like Witcher voice. It's not bad.
No, because these companies have limited budgets, so it's the best they can afford. Yeah,
I just haven't I haven't understood the connection of why he's playing a priest in an asylum. And nothing like the letters, he hasn't gotten anything, and the only other than zombies being demonic, but we haven't seen any kind of like, was he sent there to purge? Did he wake up here? Like, I don't know.
Yeah, in some video games, the same way like in movies and TV shows, story develops as you play, so then you're told later. But I would hate to be one of those scenarios where like, oh, I woke up in a cell and I lost all my memory and I need time to forget, because that will be so it's boring. Basically, many games there's the same concept, especially in RPG games. You get lost on an island or you wake up in a cell and you don't remember who you are. That became boring over time because so many publishing companies and video games producers abused it,
These
It's
people,
almost kind of deja
there's
vu.
nothing but lunacy in their eyes. Madness. And it's only the beginning. What a
Now,
nightmare.
I mean, obviously, this isn't the killing of people isn't based on this, but there actually was a priest, if I remember right, in I think it was one of the Slavic countries during the communist takeover that was committed to an insane asylum because he refused to renounce Christ. And so, according to the state, he couldn't minister anymore. And when he got released from the asylum, he had to basically pretend to be a drunkard in order to minister to people.
That's crazy.
That is insane. Now I want to learn more about him.
Yeah, if anyone wants to look him up, I think the YouTube video that I saw was titled "Christ's Fool," yeah, he just basically acted like a drunk person in order to get close enough to people, and then he would make them.
Okay, first spiritual question for tonight. The priest was just saying that he needs to get rid of the evil by, of course, shooting them. Imagine you're this priest and you're killing these monsters. Honestly, I mean, there were at one point people, but there's no help for them because they're, let's use some new word, monsterized, right? There's no help for them. They're gone completely. They're not what they used to be. Imagine you're the priest and yeah, see, whenever he hears the book, the life loses colors.
Yeah,
So
and that
now
was
he's
that
on the
unholy
quest.
book.
So now he's on the quest of saving himself and people by killing these monsters. And he said, "I'm getting rid of evil." Let's say this is you. Would you feel any remorse, any regret, any guilt by killing all these monsters because you knew these were people at one point?
Yeah, I think that's a fair question, and I would argue that anybody would probably have a hard time wrapping their minds around this, even in our world, knowing what zombies potentially would be. Like, that's a person at some point was a person, and through our, I guess, movie knowledge, we know that those people are not they can't be saved and stuff. But then you would have that thought, if this happened in real life, like, well, that's just the movies. Can these people really be saved? I mean, so that's the question you would have to have. But I know that zombie or not, I'm going to protect my family. You come knocking, you're on the wrong door. So
I think Romero in Night of the Living Dead he posed that question to us because I think in one of the movies, dude wakes up and his daughter had been zombified and basically ate his wife, and then he had to deal with, what do I do? Do I kill her, my daughter? But also not. And also in this, when you're in a delusion that's this far where you think like all these people are enemies, and I mean maybe they are, but when you're so committed to this idea that people are just the embodiment of evil, I don't think that you could feel remorse because you're so convinced that what you're doing is right. Afterward, I think that you would have to deal with that and work that out. Of course, as Christians, what we would confess is the way that we remove evil from the world is the same way that our Savior removed evil from the world, which is by suffering, right? He didn't come out with the Glock of glory. He decided that, he was going to take that sin, death, and suffering on himself and die for the sins of many. And it seems like the point of the game here, I don't know if it's a Christian game creator or if they're purposely trying to step on his foot here, but the idea that others have to die so that I can live is antithetical to Christianity. Also, PJ, could we get a stat card for the Glock of Glory in one of the games? That needs to happen.
I was already reeling that in my head for tribulation. I was like, I'm stealing that, Shaun.
Yes. Yes.
See, PJ, wasn't a coincidence that you join us tonight for the first time that we actually had our three guys analyzing the game, which never happened. It's usually Shaun and me. So you
Actually,
joining us tonight, it was like it was meant to be.
what I'll probably do is when I build the first Cryptid Quest adventure, where you two are like the major NPCs, y'all will carry the Glock of Glory.
Please bring some special sword for me. I don't know what is the weapon of choice for Shaun, but make me a paladin or a knight. That's me. I like to be super holy and righteous because I'm not, but I would like to act like I am. So make me like some special knight.
Will do. Will do.
And add some hair on my head, please.
Yeah, I wish I could do that for myself.
None for me.
All
There.
So, both levels, he wakes up asking if he's in a dream again. So I take it now that I said it the first time, like
used to lead to my home.
I don't think he was supposed to be in that asylum. Like he thought he woke up and was dreaming. In this level, he woke up and thought he was dreaming again. So I'm sure, like you're saying, we'll understand why this is so questionable for him.
So I was just admiring the guy who's playing. He was so accurate with those bullet shots from the distance. I was enjoying that.
Yeah, I think it's kind of like how we experience in dreams. You know, it's so weird and out of place, and you know it's not right, but you just kind of go with it because that is the reality. So yeah, I mean, this person in front of me just morphed into somebody else, but you know that's cool.
Yeah, I actually lucid dream. You don't know what that is, like, but sometimes it's a little weird. But sometimes that still happens where you just instantly go somewhere and you're like, what happened?
Do you purposely lucid dream, or is it just kind of something that happens to you?
It's just something that happens, and it's not a constant thing, but it's pretty frequent. But like sometimes, like I can control every detail, and sometimes I'm like, oh, I'm dreaming, and then it doesn't really matter. Like I don't interact.
Yeah, I've had dreams where like I've gone somewhere to worship, and just like the most beautiful place you could imagine. Kind of spend my life yearning that, you know, I just like want to get back there. So there's times that I'm really excited to go to bed because I'm like, maybe I'll get to go back.
Finally, I can move forward.
I'm hoping he will very soon find something like a minigun. That would be cool.
What is the Garut doing? Is that actually doing anything, or is he just having fun with it in between?
I was thinking the same. I don't know.
Yeah, when he was first doing the thing, I thought he had a chainsaw. I was like, yeah, now we're talking.
Exactly. And then I was thinking, like in Doom, he's gonna pull out his chainsaw and start cutting them, and then nothing. I'm like disappointed.
Right. Yeah, this is gonna be like Evil Dead 4. Like, let's go.
Oh my gosh, I love that movie with Ash. Have you seen the TV show? It came out several years ago. It had like 3 or 4 seasons with the same actor, Bruce Campbell, but set like decades after the movies. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't even know that existed. I need to go find that now. There's a lot of army.
It is extremely gory. So I'm not saying as a Christian I recommend. I'm just saying I watched it. I don't necessarily say that I recommend. I hope Doreen Virtue is not watching this video of us analyzing the game. When he takes this book, he's getting these occultic abilities, because we'll be all labeled as heretics and whatnot.
We already were.
Yeah, no Lord of the Rings, no Harry Potter, and no 3M.
And no Doom-like shooters. Basically, you can play Monopoly, Dominoes, and that's it.
I wonder, do they have to tithe on their Monopoly? That's interesting.
Maybe they draw lots instead of rolling dice.
There you go.
Oh wait, but for the love of money is the root of all evil, so maybe they don't even play Monopoly. And cards, hey, cards can be used in poker, so I don't even know what's safe nowadays. Maybe we should just live in a cave. I don't know.
I was even thinking, like the Etcher sketch, but that's got idolatry,
By the way, I want to say I'm really excited about tomorrow's episode, because we never recorded, well, not never, but we never went live that I can remember on Saturday. And tomorrow we have this special episode that will not last long. It will be a few of us analyzing this supernatural horror event that happened to a celebrity. I'm not saying the name. Just come in 24 hours and see. But I'm really excited about that episode. And it's funny because, basically what we're seeing now in the game is similar to what we will be discussing about tomorrow.
Priest going postal?
When did he pick that up?
Yeah, priests going postal.
I love the soundtrack. Sometimes I go on YouTube and just listen to the soundtrack of Doom Eternal. We have to analyze Doom Eternal within a month or so. We have to. We have to take a Friday and do the Doom Eternal commentary.
Lever. I hope this old machinery won't let me down.
Dude killed all 120 out of 120 enemies. He's good.
My seminary. A place that completely changed my life.
Oh, his seminary. Okay, this will be fun. So what does it mean that other priests or his
This place, once sacred, is now poisoned by evil. It feels like an old nightmare.
Yep. So his old friends, believers, religious people turn into zombies too. But he did not. We want to. I would really like to learn more about this story. Shaun, would killing former monks turned zombies be considered a holy work or not?
Vengeance is mine, says the Lord, right? So, yeah, I don't think the, specifically for the situation of if the entire world has gone crazy with zombies and person, yeah, it might just be the reverse. You might be going crazy on a whole world, and you're the only actor.
It gives that line in Revelations a different meaning when they'll beg to die but can't. So maybe you would be doing them a service to finally put them to rest and reunite them with Jesus. So
No, but I was thinking, hypothetically, of course, if this will happen to them, it's some sort of demonic witchcraft or poison or virus, and there's no reversible condition that at least we know. So that's not them anymore. It just looks physically, but they're already dead and present with Christ. So you killing them, I don't think would be a sin or considered to be wrong from a spiritual perspective, because you're killing their bodies, but their consciousness, who they truly are, their soul is not there. So that's why I said, would you consider this to be a holy work, holy war, holy ministry, whatever? Okay, I was joking a bit, but I wouldn't consider it a sin. If this will happen and you're killing zombified people, they're brainless, soulless.
right. Well,
So I don't think,
yeah.
I don't think it will be a sin.
Yeah, I mean, we know our flesh is just our meat sack. That's not us. It's just our, like you're saying, it's just our body. We're our spirit. So
if you had good reason to believe, so moral certainty, it doesn't have to be epistemological certainty, but moral certainty that you were sane and everybody else was in this condition, and you imagine that there are others that could be victimized by them, then I think it is your duty to love your neighbor, extinguish the threat, right? So yeah, definitely take them out. But if not, if the whole world has gone crazy with zombies, I don't know that you would want to live in that world. So I probably wouldn't fight too hard.
I see this like almost like an extended version of the Garden of Eden. So the same way God would put cherubim, if you happen to be there, dude, you're the one responsible for it. So you have to get rid of these, creatures. They're not humans. They just look like humans. So that the ground and the environment would be sacred eventually. So you're reclaiming it to be holy and normal for living. And again, I would not see anything as unholy, even though I'm not a person who's into guns and stuff like that, violence. But I'm saying, of course, hypothetically, I would consider like, hey, this is, it's nothing personal. You're not a murderer. You're just cleansing the temple in a way.
Yeah. God gave man dominion over the earth, so yeah, it's your job to reclaim it.
on a completely different note, I really like the church, the aesthetics of this church.
This place is intended
Or
for something
temple,
beyond this
whatever.
world. What do they mean? What do they mean?
Oh my gosh, they turned the chapel into an Antichrist chapel. Look at all these two cult signs. Yeah, so he's actually doing the good thing. He's redeeming, baptizing the unholy ground to be sacred again. So
Yeah, so the Cthulhu. That's those beings that I see. That makes sense now.
It gazes at you like a guardian of secrets.
yeah, that's what I was saying at the beginning. Shaun, it's so funny that the last game we covered was Sherlock Holmes versus Cthulhu, and now we're covering another Cthulhu game. Even though I didn't want it because it's Cthulhu, I wanted it because it looks so cool.
Okay, so he could use that book 4 times. That's what that green bar is. That's his energy.
You know what I'm thinking now? In some games, you can go into some so-called like a turbo mode or some mode where you can go into killing frenzy, because in that period you're faster, almost invincible, and that lasts for several seconds and then you stop. But you have to fight until you pull your mana or whatever it is. So it could be that he's not using the occult to reach to that level, but maybe after certain points of kills or whatever, he feels that bar or requirement and then he uses it. I don't know. I'm just thinking about it. It could be one of those things where you're just going into like a killing frenzy mode and then you're done.
finish what you started.
Getting low on ammo.
Yeah, but he has a pistol and a shotgun, so. Ooh, and the rocket launcher. Nice. Have you guys played games like Serious Sam? So Serious Sam is an opposite type of first-person shooter. You very often come into huge like levels, and first they give you to load up all your health, armor, and guns, and then literally hundreds after hundreds of hordes of those zombies of different monsters come after you. It's a very hectic game. You can play it slow, so it's like whenever I'm almost triggered for playing serious Sam games for a couple of decades. Whenever I see they give you Medicaid, they give you weaponry, what they give you ammos, I'm always expecting you to be attacked by a horde of enemies of any sort, because that's what I'm used to when I play first person shooters.
Reminds me of the catacombs in France.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that it reminds me of what are those called? Make like eagles out of bones. Or no, ossuary is a bone box. There's some word for it. Some fancy.
Ossuary is the Hebrew bone box.
Yeah. Yep.
The blood of these creatures stains the holy ground. Blasphemy. What is this infernal creature? There's no time for doubts. Shoot accurately every run before it catches ya.
He's so efficiently doing this that he's outplaying the text.
Well, some gaming channels, that's basically what guys are doing. They don't have regular day jobs like us. They just play games and upload videos for that's how they make money. And they became so good, like you can't compete, you can't match yourself against them.
It's all right. You'll get there soon. You're going to be doing this full time as a job. You'll get there.
I'm not sure I would like to play video games as a full-time job.
No, but your podcast. This will be a full-time thing.
Oh man, I would love to do. But hear me not incorrectly, please. I don't want to be lazy and passive, but I would love to do full-time ministry. That's been my desire for many years. And if God doesn't open the door for something in person, I would like to do this. If God does open for a church or a police station or a hospital to be a chaplain or something, I can still continue doing this because this is my big passion, doing the online ministry. So I seriously don't see how and why would I stop doing this, because I truly love it.
Blood is dripping right from beneath it.
Well,
What kind of
just from
is this?
my humble opinion and limited view, there's a broad spectrum of Christians that don't play games because they're not their parents restricted, and I understand all that stuff. But we're told to advance God's kingdom in everything we do. So, like I told y'all, I was saved through D&D. Like that man led me to Christ by, through D&D. But there's a lot of people that get uncomfortable because they just, I don't know, for the same reasons I was uncomfortable when I first came to faith, just because you don't know those limits and you don't know what's expected, and you're still trying to just be obedient and understand God. But the people that you would be reaching, I think is important. Like, I think there needs to be Christians on every front and in everything that's everywhere in the world. If there's people that are playing D&D, why wouldn't you have a Christian at that table DMing? Like, and I think Shaun had mentioned that last week or whenever. That's who you want. You want Christians in the world. No matter what you're doing, you're pointing them back to Christ.
Yeah, and I agree wholeheartedly. I mean, I've been just even thinking recently, man, if I would have more time and energy and not work 42 hours and then have a side job, I will be making even more often videos, like analyzing. There's so many games that came out great in the last 10, 15 years. Why not going and doing them? So many eyewitness testimonies of horror stuff, monsters, demons, books, novels. Now that we start covering board games and tabletop games, like literally, I have a friend from church. He sometimes, when he watches the episodes, he's like, "Hey, how do you find inspiration of what even topics to choose?" I said, "Dude, I'm always reading and learning something, and even if I don't learn or hear by myself, I have a circle of friends online who are sending me links, telling me about something. I'm like, yeah, I want to learn, I want to analyze, and I want to make an episode on that." So trust me, now with 2 episodes a week, now my appetites are starting to even grow more. But I know I cannot do, like, even with Shaun's help and stuff, it's still for me too much. So, but if God will open the door, oh, I would be happy. But we'll see in due time.
Yeah, and at first, it's like we're gonna run out of stuff. And as weeks progress, you're like, we'll never be able to cover all this stuff.
What's funny that even with games, they always get expansion packs and DLCs. There's always more and more to cover. It's like, it's not like, oh, I'm done with this title. You're not.
So right before he got the magic gun, I was gonna make the comment that it looks like Eldritch magic is no match for American magic, but then he got the Eldritch gun. So
Is that the one that blasts like yellow energy or explosion or something? It's so powerful.
yeah, it's like made of like floating crystals or something. Yeah, that one.
The obelisk. I think I'd still rather the American magic myself.
He just painted everything in red, so no need to pay for painters, okay?
Just trying to get the whole carpet to match? Is that what? Just extend the carpet?
It took countless sacrifices.
He's very consistent and thorough.
I wonder what these
He missed
clocks
one
do.
enemy. He missed
One.
one.
That's the only one he's missed so far.
Was he even trying?
Wow.
I don't think he's trying at all. I would have died like 30,000 times.
Yeah, he's just good. DJ, while he's reading all these letters, I was just wondering when you used to game. I don't know if you're still gaming. Um, would you game on PC or maybe on consoles?
Both. And I do still game. I just right now is a kind of a lack of time. And I told you I live out in the sticks. So like internet is kind of iffy sometimes. But I think I enjoy playing on the PC.
You have a chance to break
But
free from
some
the
games I want a controller in my hand to play some games.
each of these.
But if I'm playing like first person shooters, something like that, I want more accuracy, is definitely a mouse and
Will
keyboard.
you dare to question your knowledge?
Yeah, I've played a few games that did the platform crossover, so it allowed like PlayStation players, Xbox players, and PC players to play together. And dude, PC Master Race for all the like first-person shooters, they just dominate us.
Yeah, and you even get the buff for playing on a console, so like that you have like really high aim assist, and they still annihilate you. But I'm not a very good player to begin with, but like they just dominate.
Okay, so the book is Dark Tome. Yeah. And he can unlock even more effects. Yeah, so why would the priest turn to this? I don't want to say dark side because he's fighting against the Cthulhu cult, but why would he be suddenly using this instead of his faith in God? Let's say that way. I mean, sure, faith in God will not give you these magical powers like fireball or whatever, but like we don't know the story. Why would he turn this way?
I don't know, and I was trying to read because when it says something about the dark tome at the bottom of each of those pages,
The soil in these trenches.
but none of them sounded holy. None of them sounded like you should be messing with them.
Truly left me. This place is like a wound that never healed. Be ready, cause what you're gonna to face here will be an echo of past days, coming at you with a devastating force.
Okay, so what he's about to face will be the echo of the old days. Everything is so cryptic and enigmatic because we don't know. Is the voice referring to like what happened in the first video game, which we didn't play? I don't know.
Oh, because this is part 2. I was thinking the echo of old days was taking akin to like the Eldritch, like something ancient and old. But yeah, the second repeating history kind of thing might be it.
Yeah, maybe his conscience more on the first game. This one, he's just like, yeah, let's do it.
Did y'all review the first one?
No, this is the first indie game we're covering on the channel. Everything was like a AAA game except for Sherlock Holmes. But Sherlock Holmes, I don't think it can be called indie game. So this is like
Wow, that was his first death, and these things are hitting super hard.
So those are priests. They don't show up very often. Like every 10 minutes or so, one of them shows up.
the little egg sac things that he keeps destroying, do those always have something in them, or is it just something he's just taking out like they're a spawner or something? I saw that drop something.
I've seen him drop ammo and health, but I'm not sure if it always does. And it's kind of got to make you think, why would human health be within this like demonic attack?
I mean, even this weapon that he's having, like a minigun, it looks like it's been altered by alien technology. So it's like, again, I don't know why.
Well, that was the Eldritch cannon or whatever it's called, right? The little minigun.
Lurks around every corner. Move forward.
Yeah, I don't know.
The ghosts of the past won't let you forget. Blood and mud beneath my feet, as if I've never left this place.
Yeah, so they're just drops.
This land reminds me of a war nightmare that never ended.
I'm thinking about this. If in D&D, when you say I'm throwing a fireball, if that's for some fundamental Christians considered to be witchcraft, then in this game, when he grabs the dark tome and he gets the superpowers for a few seconds, for the same fundamental Christians, that should be the the equivalent of like, oh, you're practicing magic, because it's the same thing.
Yeah, the only differences I guess I would point out is that in D&D, God is not supposed to be in that realm. It's a world removed, and in this context, I assume he's a Christian priest because we saw the cross at the beginning. So he's actually linking himself to that dark magic or that dark tomb and casting that magic. So I guess in my perspective, he would actually be casting magic, as in D&D, those people wouldn't have a concept of actual God Almighty.
Yeah, he's definitely more morally compromised than your D&D campaign that is killing the same sort of eldritch creature, because in this world, apparently God does exist, and he's deciding to switch sides.
Yeah, what is that? There is a Hebrew king, an Israel king. Oh, what did he do? But so there's like three kind of rulers, in ancient Egypt. Those that are righteous and do righteous things, and those that are corrupt and do corrupt thing, and those that are indifferent and still God uses for righteousness. That's kind of how I see this, is that he's not righteous, but he's still fulfilling a righteous purpose of purging this evil.
I think when he's done with this level, we can switch to the last segment of the game.
But I'll also tell you, from a game playing perspective, right? I've played games. I played games since I was like 6, like when NES came out. You know what I mean? I remember sitting with my mom and dad when they first bought it, and we played Mario and Zelda. Ever since that, I was hooked. Been a Zelda fan ever since. But when you get used to having these fun, awesome powers that do this and do that, well, when you try to put yourself in like a Christian mindset where you're building a game and you're building a world, it's hard to come up with these abilities that just seem like so much fun and they do so much. But then you got to keep yourself in a context. Like in my Antediluvian game, players don't have magic, but they use the world's resources, especially pre-flood. We don't know what that stuff was, so you could kind of have a little liberty to play with some of the natural resources. But it's hard. It's hard to give that fun elements, and not keep some kind of magic in the game.
Yeah, well, and another thing that's I can be difficult is come up with a game mechanic that's kind of on demand, where as Christians we know there's really nothing that's on demand. It's all up to God. But even for pagans, they would understand that their abilities aren't necessarily on demand. So I imagine that they would kind of see it the same as, well, magic doesn't really work like that. And so as a Christian, maybe there's a sense of like suspended criticism that we can use when trying to develop a Christian game mechanic. Just kind of understand that, yeah, this is not a reflection of reality. It's a game.
Right, we're conflating this. This is, you really can't go out and cast fireball. Like,
Okay, so this is the last 40 minutes of the game. I skipped. First, I wanted to play like a last hour, but I've noticed that a lot of the whole level was weird, like with those giant mushrooms. It didn't look so much visually appealing, so I just skipped some of that part.
yeah, I take it he's on, I guess, the Cthulhu realm, maybe something like that. And all of
And he has a new weapon.
Yeah, they're all organic. They're all definitely not iron.
No, something isn't right. These shapes. This place is alive, and it's watching me.
And I feel like he played this multiple times because he runs straight towards things, where I'd be walking around like an idiot for an hour trying to figure out where I'm going.
Oh, all of us, especially when you play open world RPG games. Sometimes, well, not sometimes, many of those gaming YouTube channels are like, oh, you can finish this game in 10 hours. And I'm playing like a month because I want every side quest. I want to see every corner of the map. I'm like, how can you finish this in 10 hours? I'm just giving an example. It doesn't have to be 10 exactly.
Yeah, I never understood the purpose of speed running games. I mean, if you're gonna enjoy the game for what it is, why would you take all of the aesthetics, all of the story out of it, just button mash?
That kind of reminded me of what is that gun in Gears of War? The God's Hammer. That's kind of reminds me of God's Hammer, but straight ahead instead of from the satellite.
PJ, this guy died twice within 20 seconds. And for the first hour of the game, he didn't die at all.
That just tells me by the time I would get to this level, I'd be so frustrated I'd probably quit. And those are cool. Those are kind of like the old Halo's needlers, but those kind of like ricochet instead of stick into things.
Yeah, it's definitely one of the most underrated guns in Halo, the Needler.
Oh, I loved it. Just annihilate people as they're running around the corner and then they just die.
Something is hurting me.
Okay, so that Garrote also builds up his energy, so it's like a free attack. So that's why he's doing it in between turns.
Grab the lever. What was that?
Okay, so he's coming in the asylum bag so he can upgrade his weapons and stuff. And then the final battle should be coming in. I don't know.
Let's see.
But
He's abandoned his faith. Read that last paragraph.
Oh.
So
Could that be
lost
interpreted as
something.
he's reading a letter from some other priest or monk?
Oh, possibly. Yeah, maybe.
Doubts that have always lurked in the shadows. Now they stand before you alive, wanting to break
I'm gonna
out.
steal that, by the way. What time is it? Faith o'clock.
Unshakable, and I will prove it.
Oh, that book had blood in it now. It didn't have that before, did it?
I'm just here for the sound check.
I also like that the enemies don't have a health gauge.
You imagine how many times you'd have to play that before you got that dance right? That's crazy.
Maybe your fragile mind is too small to comprehend the true nature of this world. Don't you think faith is your prison? Prison in this eternity. Only through faith can we find peace in the face of endlessness. Ain't the truth about the infinity of the cosmos just as terrifying as the belief in a being that transcends universes? My faith protects me from madness and despair. Are you sure about that?
Okay, I'll go back because I want to raise the volume a little bit.
Faith is the only way to find meaning. Maybe your fragile mind is too small to comprehend the true nature of this world. Don't you think faith is your prison? Prison in this eternity. Only through faith can we find peace in the face of endlessness. Ain't the truth about the infinity of the cosmos just as terrifying as the belief in a being that transcends universes? My faith protects me from madness and despair. Are you sure about that?
Ooh.
Hey,
I will not let you deceive me again. Faith is not about understanding, but about trust. Perhaps you can solve this.
get him, boy, get him.
Man, I was cheering for our guy who is being deceived by this. Man, it's like the serpent in the garden, so I'll just say serpentine creature.
But from the depths of your soul.
And he was dressed in the vestment of a bishop, which
I
would
think I've
like
seen
be
it
the
before.
superior to the priest.
Maybe once again your mind is playing
Yeah, and then we saw who the bishop
And you
really
turn to
is. He's
wondering
not
it.
serving God. He's
It's time to
showing his
confront an
real
evil
face.
that lurks closer than you think.
And
Finally,
so, has he
I
been the voice in the
think
priest's
for
head the
all
whole time?
everything that has
Yeah,
been
I think so.
to me for
Could
a
be.
long, long time. Don't you hesitate. It's your
He
moment.
was also covered in eyes like the Ophanim.
You're gonna need it.
Yeah, I just learned yesterday that the Ophanim and the Thrones are the same creatures. They're just different names for them.
Oh, is it because of our episode on Sunday?
Yeah, I was doing research for that.
Oh my gosh, I have to tell everyone. So yeah, not just that we're having a surprise episode tomorrow, but on Sunday there will be few of us dissecting many scripted, Nephilim, alien misunderstandings when people are reading the Bible and also some extra biblical sources. So you don't want to miss on that episode. It will be easily 2.5 hours long. It will be so much fun, so much biblical, and so much well, I want to use the word nerdy, even though some people think it's almost offensive, but I take it as a compliment. So it will be with a lot of good information for people who want to learn.
Did you say that Carrie was going to be on that episode?
I have invited Carrie. She said she will see, so we don't know.
I was going to say we're going to be talking about some nerdy conspiracy theory stuff. She'll be so frustrated with us.
Well, but we'll be kind of trying to refute them, and I invited her because Troy suggested. He said she's been covering on her podcast something similar, so I'm like, okay, I'll be a good mediator and just ask Carrie, and she said she'll think about it.
Oh, she would be a great addition to it. I just joke because you know how she is with
Yeah,
us.
yeah. Imagine if the Cthulhu is actually your final boss. That will be fun and frustrating because it was extremely hard to kill him.
That would be epic if you could fight Cthulhu as a final boss.
I have to be honest about something. The only negative thing, Sean, about us covering video games is that once when we cover games, I don't have big desire to go and get the game and play it because I'm like I already saw the beginning and the end.
Yeah, you got to play RPGs that have different endings on how you play it, that you're not ruined.
Yeah, or maybe play a game months after we review it, so I can hopefully forget stuff in between.
But wasn't it also C.S. Lewis that said the best stories are the ones you already know the ending to?
Wait, can you say louder?
I said, wasn't it C.S. Lewis who said that the best stories are the ones that you already know the ending to? Because then you can pay more attention to the detail.
Oh, like the Bible, huh? Hint, hint. Okay.
This place.
So I'm still not exactly sure what this book does. I mean, I know it turns everything black and white, so I guess it's a little easier to see. But does it reveal like invisible creatures or anything? I haven't seen anything that's like, oh, that's why you do that.
When he was looking at his talent points for like his weapons and stuff, and upgrading stuff, it looked like there was 6 different spell slots for the book. So I don't know if it's got different uses.
Yeah, when he goes back to the asylum, the same way he can upgrade his weapons, he can also upgrade this dark tome by adding more or learning more of these dark abilities. So maybe he doesn't activate always the same thing whenever the screen goes black and white. I also want to say this for the sake of the audience. Once when David Marshall, Kerry, Shaun, PJ, Ben, and I go and actually try to play live tabletop games, we will probably do it on a Friday. So that means that one of these coming Fridays in November, maybe December, we'll skip our gaming or horror story segment and we'll just go and play games and you can actually join us live. So that will be fun. And I've never played, so I'm looking forward to that.
So what you're saying, we're not going to be skipping a gaming segment. We're going to be participating.
Okay,
So-
you're right. Let me correct myself. We will not be doing the video game segment. We'll be playing tabletop games.
Yeah. So if y'all plan on playing Antediluvian, I have to figure out, like, I am not an online GM. Like, I'm not very savvy with software, so I'll have to find out a software. But I don't know how much y'all want to play. When I play at the church group, it's 2 hours, and I'll tell you, just from a tabletop RPG game setting, 2 hours is not long at all. Like, sometimes you spend 2 hours in a tavern talking. So it's up to you. I'll let y'all decide how far you want to go, but I've played 18 hours straight. But most sessions, probably, I would say like a decent session would be like 4 hours. But we could either play, and if you want to record, you could break it up or whatever.
Yeah, so David, whom you met last Sunday, who joined us for the D&D game, he's the Christian Dungeon Master. He said he's also in some website where we can just join for free, and he said there's a way how we can stream it on StreamYard and broadcast it live, like we're now doing this live. So I don't know anything he knows. He'll help us. Your job is only to join us. If you want to play, we don't have to even finish. It will be just having fun for a few hours.
And is Antediluvian, is it based on a D20 system?
So no, yes and no. It's played. You play it just like Dungeons and Dragons, so it's skill based, all that stuff. But it only has a 4, an 8, and a 12-sided dice. So it's 4 for you plus the Trinity, the 8 disciples, and 12 the 12 council, or the 12 thrones. But you roll multiple dice, and I've kind of toyed with just going to a standard RPG set just because it's so much easier. And when I first built Tribulation kind of played like a war game. So you had like 30 4-sided dice you were rolling, and it got crazy. So I changed the dice system, and I've stuck with that dice system through all the settings. But we'll see. Y'all could tell me if it's clunky, and if definitely an RPG set would feel better or work better.
Yeah, no, it's whatever's. I just know that there's they have dice roll simulators that we use, so we don't have to all keep track of physical dice. So that we could do.
I have all that stuff, and I've used it. And I have online virtual tabletops, but not everybody's going to go spend $60 for the one I have. You know what I mean? And I can't give you like free access like he can. So that's what I mean, where I would have to learn an entirely new virtual tabletop if everybody would play for free, kind of thing.
Is it $60 a month or $60 just?
No, it's a one-time purchase.
That's pretty reasonable.
It is, but it's not that simple either. You have to import everything into the system, and I have to push it to y'all, and it's kind of clunky. At least the last time I played, and that's been 5 years ago.
Right.
So I might not even remember how to use it now. But we could literally get. I mean, I trust y'all to tell me which you rolled. That's the only caveat is why you would even, and we could even use the Google Drive, and you could put a map on there, and y'all could log into Google Drive, and you could select your own tokens and move your tokens. So that's not even an issue either.
Nice.
But if he has something a little more fancy and can show us how to use it, that'd be okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm down for whatever. I'm just excited to play a Christian RPG. I'm thinking that would be awesome, and I'm thinking the fans would absolutely love to see some Christian content. Christian gaming content.
Yeah, and it's kind of, I guess it'd be appropriate that the first gameplay would be launched on your channel. So that's kind of cool.
That is awesome. It's that's a huge privilege to be able to launch or at least air a session of the game that you've been working on, which is, like you said, it's been a labor of love and a ministry. So that's just it's a privilege to be able to be a part of that.
Thanks.
Yeah, man, it's an honor. So whatever we can do,
Yeah, I appreciate it, guys. Like I said, y'all have been inspiration more than you know. So much love. Just want to return the favor.
What fascinates me about these small indie production companies, they're usually just a couple people, maybe a few people. Sometimes even in the case of certain games, there can be just one guy who is so talented and trying to save money. He does the graphics, the music, whatever. So sometimes you see these impressive games done by a couple of people, and on the other side you have these oil companies, AAA companies that have hundreds of millions of dollars, literally, and they still need years to make. And the games came out with so many bugs. They need patches. It's unplayable, at the very beginning. And you're so frustrated. And sometimes you see a small studio with a couple of people going, above and beyond with expectations. It's like amazing.
Yeah, I instantly thought of Star Citizen when you said that. Star Citizen's still in beta or alpha, whatever. It's fantastically an amazing game, but I don't even remember how many millions they're in right now, and it's still not even a playable game, or launched. It's crazy, and some people spend like $500 just to own a ship in the game that's still bugged.
Wait, do people say for that game or for some other game there is a scam that will never be published? Is that the game or some other game?
Yeah, well, it could be another game, but I've definitely heard that on this game as well. But I have the game and I've played it, and it is a fun game, but it's definitely glitchy. It's definitely buggy. And then you like I said, there's like $2,000 ships. Can you imagine spending $2,000 on a game first off, and then to get the game and you can't even use the ship because it's the how that ship was designed. The game's not even built to handle yet, so it's kind of weird. But they still keep pushing these ships because that's how they get their money.
It's a milking cow.
There was a game that this was probably, I don't know, close to 20 years ago anyway. There was a game that was going to come out, and they had a whole website dedicated to all their stuff, and they were saying that they were getting it going. And I waited for like 5 years for this game because I wanted to play this game. It just looked so awesome. And as far as I know, it never ended up coming out. It was called Realm Wars, I believe it was called. And it had like different monster factions and stuff. And they had like a whole map that was already created and a backstory for all the different monsters. But I guess nothing ever came of it.
Was that the one that was... There was I don't know if that was the one. There was a game that was completely funded on Kickstarter for so many hundreds of thousands or like $1 million or something. And it was like 3 or 4 years later, and not one thing was released for this game. And then they filed a lawsuit. And I don't know if that was it, but I remember reading something like that.
I think this was even before Kickstarter. Like I said, this was like 20 years ago. And this was... I remember we had Windows XP, and we were looking at the game. Like that's what, because the awesome game to play at the time was RuneScape. I don't know if y'all remember RuneScape.
Yeah, RuneScape, World of Warcraft. Yep.
Yep. So yeah, I was like, man, the graphics look so good on this, but I never saw anything come of it.
This is a definitely Doom meets Cthulhu, like old school Doom.
PJ, you'll be surprised because I sometimes watch this Doom-like new titles. They're made intentionally with poor graphics and stuff to look like 90s. You'll be surprised how many people love this type of games. They're never tired. They still, because of nostalgic reasons, right? So they always want to go back and like play something similar.
Yeah.
Many times they would rather play something like this than AAA game, even if it's not a matter of money and the cost. It's just the atmosphere and how addicting it can be. Like they would rather play indie games.
No, I agree. I absolutely love this art style. Like, I would play this all day. I mean, I'm not maybe this game because I'd probably get bored. What is this? He's running through it in like 4 or 5 hours. This would take me probably a week. But even like my eventual dream was to do a virtual tabletop for my game, and we had talked to the programmer about it being 16-bit, so your little characters and icons, everything would be 16-bit, because that's kind of what I grew up on, so throwback to nostalgia. Like,
Plus, I guess when you think about it, so much of the time and probably the bandwidth consumed is on texturing, and if you don't have to have all those texturing packages for a game like this where everything's the 2D paper doll, it saves a lot of money on the programmers and it saves a lot of bandwidth when you're playing it.
Oh my gosh, awesome. I have to raise the volume.
I think this is my favorite gun. He definitely has first-person shooter eyes. He sees every little thing moving. Like, that's what always gets me killed. I'm like, is that something moving? And then I get shot. That's a pretty neat mechanic that you fill up the blood pumper with a pint of blood to shoot.
And how was he reloading that gun? It looked like he was just hitting it.
I don't know. It lagged on my side when he reloaded, and it just.
I mean, if it's organic, what does it even use for bullets? Like, could it be endless in a way? I don't know. Is it using some of the elements from air, from something, like magic? I don't know.
Well, I guess the blood pumper would shoot blood clots.
We didn't have one comment for an hour and a half. This is interesting.
Because our main commenter is on our stream.
Hold on, I got you.
I promise before God, this is true. When PJ said he would like to come tonight and join, I was like, yes, and I was like, oh, but I'm losing number of clicks and hours because he watches every episode. I was like, dang it, you can't win everything. We got one comment from this unknown guy.
Oh, thank you. That's very kind of you.
Yes, a nice guy. We will have to invite him over on the podcast one day.
It's questionable.
I will give you anything you want. Just let me out of this hell.
Imagine as some morbid joke if he gets back to the original self. Imagine everything was a nightmare or a dream or there's no escape.
Well, so since his bishop or whatever, I would assume he's Catholic or Orthodox or something like. So maybe this is his version of purgatory.
Yeah, Orthodox don't believe in purgatory, as far as I know. So then it will be probably Catholic.
No, this is just one of the toll houses. Is it only the Russian Orthodox that do the toll houses, or do you know?
I don't.
Only you can help yourself. Don't give up. You got this.
So if the voice is, I was about to say, if the voice is demonic and it's encouraging him to persevere, there's probably something in the game from the bigger perspective that we don't know that also aligns for the person that is telling him to go and just do the mission. What was you saying? What were you saying, PJ?
I'm sorry, I forgot. All right, but that initial sentence, that was him talking, right? I feel like that's his voice, just saying what he would be thinking. But there was a separate voice that was talking to him earlier, before that bishop or whatever that figure revealed itself. There was two, but I think this is him. Oh, voice. Okay, I see. I'm wrong. So it says priest is him, voice is voice. Gotcha.
Yeah. Priest and voice are not the same.
Looks like some kind of particle accelerator, some kind of warp drive interior.
Maybe they're in a tunnel with CERN. Just kidding.
I was gonna say we got Cthulhu, the Vatican, and CERN all in one.
Well, now we know how it happens.
And in the background, REM and the song "It's the End of the World as We Know It," right?
Yeah, he better start changing his religion. That's all I know.
The game is almost over, so I'm just looking to see what will be the ending. I hope it's not one of those morbid, dark endings like in every Cthulhu novel or game or movie.
I feel like he's holding on to his faith in the I guess the game designer idea of what that means and whatever, but it sounds like he's still continuing on trying to stay strong and, you know, put his faith and trust his faith despite his actions and stuff and things he's using.
You know, PJ, when Shaun and I do the segment with horror stories, supposedly, you know, true stories, I often ask him, "Hey, Shaun, how would you behave if you were in this situation?" So my question, well, not my question, I'm meditating on this. If you be this priest and this is in some weird reality happening to you, he's been fighting for days and days on different levels. Your faith in God will be tested to the maximum. Like, God, where are you? Like, why aren't you sending some angel warriors? Like, why is it only me? Like, where's my help? You know, why is this happening? Is there some cosmic justice coming through? Gazillion questions coming to you. Your faith will be tested to the maximum in a situation like this because he's been doing this for in his reality for days and days and days, right? And still like seems like it's in vain.
I give up. I can't do it. I am not.
You just said that. I give up. Maybe I have one of those prophetic gifts. I don't know.
That happens each time he dies, right? That I give up, I can't do this. Or did he clear something and I just missed that part?
Yeah, I can't tell he's going so fast. I'm not sure if he cleared the level or if he. Well, I know he didn't clear the level, but if he cleared that particular path that he went down, or if he just died, kind of hard to tell.
But to your point, Nick, yeah, your faith would be constantly tested. So I guess you would have to see where the person going into this, where their faith would have been to start with, in their journey in life before that. But from my perspective, if this was me at this place in time, I've known some people that have passed wholeheartedly knew that Jesus was going to save them. Wholeheartedly, no doubt in their mind that Jesus was going to cure them. They would survive. They would take care of their family. They would be all that, and they didn't. And you know, we as believers often always are, you know, left wondering like what possibly could have been done. What could they have prayed more? Could I have prayed more? But that's not always the case. That's not. We know Jesus is the God of love, and he, if not that if he wanted to, but we don't understand his reason for not doing so. And I think we often take that the hard line of if I would have just done this, or if I would have done that, or why this, why that, when ultimately it's we're here for a breath. And that's hard for us to comprehend because this is all we know. But like our existence is not even a partial speck of sand on the earth with eternity, you know. So we see this world as harsh and loving, and we want to stay here and our family and all that, but we have eternity, and we don't comprehend that word. We use that word so lightly, but we have eternity with Jesus in the rest of his kingdom. So for him to not save somebody here on earth isn't necessarily always a bad thing. He just gave that person potentially, if they're saved, eternal life of unsuffering, of just all these wonderful things that will be fulfilled in his kingdom. And I don't know, it's just I would hold on to that. I think if I was just surrounded by all this torment and all of this stuff, and like, where are you, Jesus? Where are you? I need you now. I would hold on to that you're still with me, and I don't understand your plan, but I know I'm with you in eternity. So I'll do the mission. You got me here until my dying breath, because I know in the end I'm with you.
Oh, thank you. Very pastoral. Okay, I rewinded and I raised the volume because we have only 4 minutes left. And now he's dealing with Cthulhu, and he's having these dialogues again with this voice, and they're like arguing about fate. So I just wanted to rewind and go through that again.
Anyone could meet such a fate. You're finally starting to understand it. I bear my cross, and I rely on you. Did you really think you could break me? This is the moment of truth. I will never give up. Your strength lies in your determination. It guides you through darkness. My faith will withstand everything. Even if you throw the worst nightmares at me, show that nothing will shake your faith. Your fate is stained with blood, like a river of dreams filled with forgetfulness. Don't you see this? Your blood is a bridge between worlds, between reality and dreams. What? What is happening? Why is everyone here? Run! The world is falling apart. My memories. Stay with them, and eternal sleep will envelop you, protected from the wrath of the Old One. But when you wake up, my world will change irreversibly. Should I stay in my dreams or confront them? Unity of body and soul. Calm down. Calm down. Do I have to decide? Could it be that we have already sealed our fate? So, I will indeed descend into madness after all. It's good that the Old One will be trapped in his dark slumber, but will I find peace in eternity? My faith is sealed.
Man, didn't I say that I wouldn't be surprised if there's another dark ending to this game? I mean, there'll be a sequel for sure, and it's kind of a little bit vague ending. Um, Overall, good game. Yeah, we didn't see Cthulhu fighting, but that could be coming in the sequel depending on the plot. And of course, if something is selling, they want to finish the game. You know, you could just kill Cthulhu. They want to keep making money, which makes sense. So, what are your impressions overall of the game? Spiritual, graphics, atmosphere, choice of guns, magic, anything of that sort? PJ, you want to go first?
Overall, I think the game was awesome. It's looked like just like a fun loot, not a loot shoot, but just a fun shooter, just wreck and shop the whole time. I would have liked, I guess, to maybe have understood the story a little more than I did. But I think that's just context of us not being able to read the passages very quickly and stuff like that. And despite his use of the dark tome, and I don't understand that fully. Like, I don't understand what it is in its entirety. But I like that he's battling with his faith through the entire thing and not losing his faith, but still questioning, because we do that today. We still do that in our own lives. So, and we make dumb decisions and we do stupid things too. So, that's also, I don't know if I entirely understood that ending, but I also like how he sacrificed, it appeared that he sacrificed himself, his sanity, to keep that monster at bay so it wouldn't affect the world. So I kind of like that.
Yeah, that kind of actually ended up tying into what I said toward the beginning, that the way that Christians remove sin, death, and suffering from the world is not by destroying other things so that we may live, but actually self-sacrificing so that the others may live. And that happened to be exactly what he did. I'm not exactly sure how he did that. I'm not sure what the mechanic was, if Cthulhu was going to enter into our world through his mind or something, and so he had to trap his mind in his own psyche inside of himself. So I'm not sure how all that would have worked, and I might have to go back and rewatch some of this in order to gain a better understanding of it, because it looks like a really cool story. But as far as the gameplay, I mean, you can't beat it, right? It's old school. There was a bunch of shoot 'em up stuff. The fact that it had, like I said, we touched on CERN, the Vatican, and Cthulhu all in one game. You can't beat that. Every conspiracy theorist, it just should flock to this game, because it's awesome and it seems like really fast paced play. But yeah, I really like the messaging of, even in this trial, to keep the faith, even when everything looks like God has abandoned you, he hasn't. And, maybe when you are thinking in that position, God, why don't you send someone to help? Maybe the thought should be, he sent you, and that you were supposed to bring God to this situation. And so I really like all of those messages. I like that he didn't lose his faith. I shouldn't say that I'm confused. I was going to say I'm confused about the dark tome. I understand that a game needs a mechanic in order to be able to be playable. I just kind of wish that they would have used something a little bit less, dark. But then maybe if they were to have used, like, these different scripture quotations taken out of context as like a spell, then I would have been calling them on blasphemy. So, maybe that's just a lose-lose situation there.
Thank you for those concluding thoughts. I just want to say, by God's grace, if we have energy, and I'll give my best after work to come straight to have a shorter episode tomorrow, where a few of us will be dissecting this recent video of a certain celebrity talking about being mauled by a demon in their sleep. So come for that. You don't want to miss it out. Sunday, there'll be similar but also a little bit more diverse group. We'll be talking about different cryptid, Nephilim, and alien topics, but not from conspiratory level. We want to assess them through biblical lenses. For example, we'll be talking, does the Bible really says that Lucifer, like they teach in some churches, was leading the heavenly choir? Was he really the leader of the worship music in heaven? And of course he wasn't. Then we'll talk, like, was Esau a Sasquatch or a Bigfoot, like some people think? Or was Lilith really Adam's first wife and the mother of demons? Was she in some sexual relationship with Lucifer? I know people actually believe this, so we have to assess these things. Also, many people believe that when Satan fell, 1/3 of angels fell, which is twisting a little bit the passage from Revelations. We also want to assess that. We want to assess similar stuff when it comes to that. For example, in Ezekiel chapter 1, what is that? Is that a spaceship, or is that Yahweh's chariot? So I promise tons of fun for the next 2 days, and I promise tons of good content with many same old but also new guests coming in the next few months. Please support this channel in any way you can, even if it's by liking, subscribing, sharing this video somewhere. We need 47 more people by the end of the year to reach that 1K subscription. Of course, I want to go way above that, but that's like the minimum. Share these links to social media, subscribe, tell to your friends, whomever. Pray for us, whoever is willing and able to donate, for all the expenses we're having. Thank you. If not, still, you're more than welcome to stay here. Everything is free, just as the gospel is free. We love you, and we'll see you in less than 24 hours. God bless, and thank you.